Section 1. The Law of Control. You are the master of interpretation. The first Stoic law that destroys negative thinking is simple but brutal. You control nothing except your mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Most people live as slaves to their emotions. They react to everything, a comment, a failure, a rejection. Their happiness is a hostage, kidnapped by circumstance, but the Stoic sees through this illusion. The event itself means nothing. It's the interpretation that gives it power. When someone insults you, that's just sound. When you fail, that's just data. When you're rejected, that's just movement in the universe. The emotion, anger, shame, sadness, comes only from the story you tell yourself about what happened. Here's the truth most people can't handle. No one can make you feel anything. They can only present stimuli. You assign the meaning. This is dark psychology at its core, understanding that whoever controls interpretation controls reality. The weak let others define how they feel. The strong decide for themselves. Next time something upsets you, ask, is this truly bad, or have I just labeled it so? Because once you realize you control your internal world, no one can dominate you. The law of control is brutal because it removes excuses, but it's also freeing because it puts power back where it belongs, in your hands. When you master interpretation, you master life. Section 2. The Law of Perception. Reality is a mirror, not a wall. The second Stoic law that obliterates negative thinking is the law of perception. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What you perceive is not reality, it's reflection. The world mirrors the tone of your inner voice. When your mind is poisoned by fear, bitterness, or self-pity, everything around you appears cruel. When your mind is trained in discipline and gratitude, the same world becomes manageable, even beautiful. The difference isn't in the world, it's in you. Most people believe they're victims of what happens. They think life does things to them, but the Stoic knows the truth. Life only shows you what's already inside you. If you see obstacles everywhere, that's not the world rejecting. It's your weakness interpreting challenge as threat. If you see enemies everywhere, that's not persecution. It's insecurity projecting itself outward. Dark psychology tells us this is how self-sabotage operates. The mind invents stories that justify its fear. The Stoic destroys those stories. When something happens, you must separate the event from the interpretation. You don't say, "I was betrayed." You say, "A person acted according to their nature." You don't say, "This is unfair." You say, "This is what is." Because the moment you drop judgment, the pain dissolves. The Stoic law of perception teaches that every experience is neutral until you assign it meaning. So choose your meaning wisely. See opportunity, not defeat. See lessons, not wounds. See reflection, not attack. Once you master perception, the world stops being a wall and becomes a mirror you can use to shape yourself. Section 3. The Law of Adversity. What hurts you, trains you. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is the instructor. The third Stoic law is this: every difficulty you face is designed to sharpen you. Epictetus once said, "Difficulties are the things that show what men are." He didn't say avoid pain, he said face it. Because the moment you run from adversity, you run from the very thing sculpting your greatness. The truth is brutal. The universe does not care about your comfort. It only cares about your evolution. Every hardship, betrayal, or failure you experience is not punishment. It's preparation. It's resistance training for the soul. Most people live soft lives because they confuse pain with damage. They think if it hurts, it's wrong. But the Stoic mind knows better. What hurts you trains you. What breaks your heart builds your armor. What exhausts you expands your endurance. Marcus Aurelius called this principle the art of turning the obstacle upside down. Whatever stands in your way becomes the way. If you're rejected, use it to build independence. If you're criticized, use it to build clarity. If you lose, use it to rebuild smarter. Dark psychology agrees. The mind grows stronger under stress, the way muscle grows under pressure. Too much comfort corrupts the will. Adversity purifies it. So the next time life pushes you to your limits, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What is this trying to forge within me?" Pain is information. It tells you where you're weak, and where you're weak is exactly where you must train. This is the Stoic warrior's mindset, to treat pain as the ultimate mentor. Because once you learn to absorb pain without breaking, no one can manipulate you, and that's when you become unstoppable. Remember, comfort breeds decay, struggle breeds strength. What hurts you trains you if you let it. Section 4. The Law of Detachment. Indifference is power. The fourth Stoic law that annihilates negative thinking is perhaps the most misunderstood. Indifference is power. In a world where everyone is emotionally reactive, where one comment can ruin someone's day, detachment is a superpower. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." Most people give away their peace too easily. They hand it over to strangers, opinions, trends, outcomes. They depend on the approval of others to feel worthy. They depend on success to feel secure. They depend on comfort to feel happy. The Stoic depends on nothing and therefore loses nothing. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop needing. When you are detached, you can give fully without fear. You can act decisively without attachment to reward. You can love deeply without the terror of loss. This is the quiet strength that terrifies manipulators and confuses emotional parasites, because they can't control someone who doesn't crave validation. Dark psychology confirms this. Emotional independence is the rarest and most powerful form of dominance. When others can't trigger you, they lose leverage. Detachment trains your mind to operate from logic, not impulse. You stop chasing highs and start building inner peace. You stop fighting for outcomes and start focusing on process. The Stoics practiced what they called premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. They imagined loss before it happened. They visualized hardship before it arrived. Why? So that when life hit them, they were already emotionally armored. They didn't collapse. They nodded and said, I was expecting you." To the average person, this looks cold. To the Stoic, it's liberation, because when you no longer panic over what you can't control, you reclaim all your mental energy for what you can. That's the law of detachment. Indifference is not apathy, it's command. It's what separates the ones who suffer endlessly from the ones who move through chaos untouched. To master detachment is to master life. Section 5. The Law of Self-Discipline. Freedom demands obedience to yourself. The fifth Stoic law is the backbone of every empire, every legacy, and every mind that has ever risen above chaos. Freedom demands obedience to yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is measured by the things he can control, and the first thing he must control is himself." Self-discipline is not punishment. It's the highest form of self-respect. It's saying to yourself, "I am not an animal of impulse. I am a commander of action." Most people talk about wanting freedom, but they mistake freedom for indulgence, for doing whatever they want, whenever they want. That's not freedom. That's enslavement to your desires. The Stoic knows that real freedom comes only when your will is stronger than your craving. You don't need to obey your laziness. You don't need to obey your emotions. You don't need to obey your fear. They scream. You listen, but you don't bow. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he was one of the freest men who ever lived. Because, while others were prisoners to circumstance, he mastered the one domain that can never be taken, his inner world. Discipline is not about harshness. It's about alignment. You align your actions with your values. You align your mind with your purpose. You align your habits with your destiny. Each day you delay, you lose ground. Each excuse you accept, you strengthen weakness. And here's the dark truth. The mind learns from repetition. Every time you give in to comfort, you are teaching yourself to fail. Every time you follow through despite resistance, you are teaching yourself to win. The Stoic practices self-discipline not to impress anyone, but to build an unbreakable relationship with himself. Because when you trust yourself to do what's necessary, the world can't intimidate you. When you can command your body and mind to act, you no longer need motivation. You have power. Self-discipline is how you weaponize your potential. It's how you silence the noise. It's how you turn chaos into structure, weakness into authority, and dreams into inevitability. To obey yourself is the highest form of freedom. Because in a world addicted to comfort, the disciplines stand alone and unstoppable. Section 6. The Law of Emotional Transmutation. Convert pain into power. The sixth Stoic law that destroys negative thinking is one that turns your deepest wounds into unstoppable strength. Convert pain into power. Every emotion you feel, rage, grief, jealousy, fear, carries raw energy. Most people waste that energy through reaction. They explode, complain, spiral, self-destruct. The Stoic does the opposite. He absorbs the energy, refines it, and redirects it toward creation, progress, and purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not just poetic philosophy, it's psychological alchemy. When life burns you, you have two choices. You can let the fire consume you, or you can learn to forge weapons in it. Dark psychology teaches us that suppressed emotions don't disappear, they mutate. When you ignore pain, it corrodes your confidence. When you channel pain, it becomes fuel. Think about it. Anger is focus in disguise. Fear is awareness in disguise. Sadness is empathy in disguise. Every emotion has a hidden utility, but only the disciplined mind can extract it. The Stoic doesn't deny pain. He studies it. He asks, what is this emotion teaching me? What skill is this moment demanding? When heartbreak comes, he learns detachment. When betrayal comes, he learns discernment. When failure comes, he learns strategy. Each wound becomes a lesson. Each emotion becomes energy. And when you master this transmutation, no one can use your emotions against you. Manipulators fail because they can't trigger you. Critics fail because they can't offend you. You turn their darkness into light. This is the quiet secret of those who rise from ruins stronger than before. They don't numb pain, they redirect it. They turn heartbreak into hunger. They turn rejection into resolve. They turn grief into greatness. So, when pain arrives, welcome it. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to transform. You, the Stoic, doesn't waste emotional energy. He recycles it into progress. To convert pain into power is to become undefeatable. Because once you realize that even your suffering can serve you, life has nothing left to threaten you with. Section 7. The Law of Focus, where attention goes, reality follows. The seventh Stoic law that annihilates negativity is this: what you focus on expands. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." What he meant was simple. Your attention is currency, and whatever you spend it on multiplies. When you dwell on problems, your problems grow. When you focus on opportunity, opportunity grows. When you obsess over what's missing, your life becomes scarcity. When you appreciate what's here, your life becomes abundance. The Stoic mind understands that attention is power. The modern mind wastes it. We live in a world engineered to hijack focus. Social media, gossip, envy, comparison. People scroll through illusions and call it connection. They drown in distractions and call it living. But here's the dark truth. Distraction is the enemy of greatness. Your mind cannot hold both self-doubt and discipline at once. It cannot hold both envy and gratitude. It cannot hold both fear and faith. So choose your focus wisely, because what you look at, you become. Marcus Aurelius practiced mental minimalism. He would write in his journal, "Do not waste what remains of your life on what others think." He filtered his attention like a warrior filters his weapons with precision. Dark psychology reveals something most people never grasp. Your mind's default state is chaos. Without conscious control, it will chase novelty, validation, and fear. But when you discipline your focus, you rewrite the program. Ask yourself, how many thoughts today were actually useful? How much energy did you waste on things you can't control? The Stoic answer, none of that matters. What matters is the direction of your attention, because your reality follows it. Focus on the mission, not the noise. Focus on growth, not gossip. Focus on discipline, not drama. Every moment, life whispers a question. Where are you placing your mind? The weak let the world decide. The Stoic decides for himself. When your focus is anchored in purpose, you become immune to chaos. Your mind stops reacting and starts creating. And that's when you become the rarest kind of powerful, the kind that no distraction can corrupt. Section 8. The Law of Acceptance. Surrender is not weakness. It's wisdom. The 8th Stoic law that shatters negative thinking is one that most people resist their entire lives. Acceptance is not giving up. It's waking up. Epictetus wrote, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do, and you will go on well." This is one of the hardest truths to accept, and one of the most liberating. The Stoic understands that resistance to reality is the root of all suffering. It's not events that hurt you. It's your refusal to accept them. You don't drown because you fall into the water. You drown because you refuse to swim. Acceptance doesn't mean passivity. It means alignment with truth. It means seeing the world clearly, not emotionally. It means looking at life and saying, this is what it is. Now, what will I do about it? Most people spend their lives fighting what already happened, replaying betrayals, arguing with outcomes, wishing the past was different. But the Stoic doesn't fight the unchangeable. He studies it, learns from it, and moves forward. Dark psychology confirms this. Denial keeps the mind trapped in repetition. What you refuse to face, you're doomed to relive. Acceptance ends the cycle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Amor fati," the love of fate. Not just tolerating reality, but loving it, because every event, every loss, every challenge carries within it the raw material of growth. When you accept life on its own terms, you stop wasting energy on resistance and start using it on adaptation. And adaptation, not avoidance, is the foundation of mental strength. Acceptance says, this happened. Now how can I grow from it? This failed. Now what did it teach me? This person left. Now who will I become without them? This is the Stoic's inner dialogue. Direct, unemotional, powerful, because the one who accepts reality cannot be broken by it. He flows with life instead of fighting it. He learns, adjusts, and continues forward, calmly, ruthlessly, wisely. Acceptance is the ultimate act of courage. It's not the weak surrendering to life, it's the strong mastering it. And once you stop resisting what is, you unlock the full power to change what can be. Section 9, the Law of Memento Mori. Remember, you will die, so truly live. The ninth Stoic law that eradicates negativity is perhaps the most haunting and the most awakening, Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about death, not with fear, but with clarity. He said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." Most people avoid this truth because it terrifies them. They live as if time is infinite, as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They chase validation, argue over trivial things, waste years on distractions, all while ignoring the only thing that's certain: this life ends. The Stoic faces this reality every day, not morbidly, but purposefully, because once you confront death, you stop wasting life. Memento Mori is not about gloom, it's about focus. When you remember you will die, your priorities become razor sharp. You stop chasing approval and start chasing meaning. You stop fearing failure and start fearing wasted potential. You stop existing and you start living. Dark psychology teaches that mortality is the deepest motivator. Those who ignore it become slaves to impulse and fear. Those who face it become free. Imagine living with this awareness that every conversation could be your last, that every sunrise could be the final one you'll ever see, that the people you love could vanish at any moment. Would you still complain? Would you still delay your goals? Would you still fear rejection? The Stoic says no. He lives with urgency, but not panic, with intensity, but not desperation. He moves through each day as if it matters, because it does. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." To remember death is to remember to live with discipline, gratitude, and purpose. So the next time you hesitate to act, whisper these words to yourself: Memento Mori. Let them slice through your excuses. Let them silence your doubts, because once you understand that every breath is borrowed, you begin to live like a warrior, focused, grounded, fearless. And when death finally comes, it won't find you afraid. It will find you fulfilled. Section 10. The Law of the Inner Fortress. The mind is your kingdom. The 10th and final Stoic law that obliterates negative thinking is the foundation of them all. The mind is your fortress. Protect it at all costs. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." The Stoics believed the ultimate power is not wealth, not fame, not even influence. It's sovereignty over your own mind. Everything external is unstable. Money comes and goes, people change, reputation fades, but your inner world, that's the only territory that truly belongs to you. The weak man builds his life around what he cannot control. The Stoic builds his life around what no one can take: his principles, his composure, his focus, his peace. Dark psychology confirms this ancient truth. External chaos only breaks you if it finds cracks in your inner walls. If your mind is disciplined, chaos becomes harmless noise. If your mind is clear, no manipulation can control you. If your mind is calm, no crisis can destroy you. The inner fortress is not built overnight. It's constructed brick by brick, thought by thought. Every time you resist anger, a brick. Every time you stay calm under pressure, a brick. Every time you choose purpose over distraction, another brick. Most people never build this fortress. They leave their minds unguarded, wide open to fear, envy, comparison, gossip, and doubt. They let anyone walk in and rearrange their peace. But the Stoic builds high walls around his attention, guards the gates of his thoughts, and decorates the halls of his mind with gratitude and wisdom. And here's the final paradox. Once your inner world is unshakable, you can walk through the outer world completely free. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet he wrote his meditations not as an emperor, but as a student of his own mind. He knew the greatest victory is not over armies, but over the self. Your mind is your kingdom. Guard it, train it, strengthen it, because when you master it, no storm can touch you. That is the heart of Stoicism. Control what you can, accept what you can't, and protect your peace as if it were your crown. When your inner fortress stands tall, negativity crumbles. Fear dissolves, and life in all its chaos finally makes sense. Final words. If these 10 Stoic laws spoke to you, remember, philosophy means nothing unless it's lived. Apply them, repeat them, etch them into your daily life until they become instinct. And now, if you found strength in this message, like this video to spread Stoic wisdom, comment below with your own original motivational quote, something born from your own philosophy, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next step on your Stoic journey. Until next time, stay grounded, stay disciplined, and rule your mind, because your mind is your kingdom.